Let's explore autistic history and the Autism Wars. This is part 93 of a series. Alright, I left off in the last video talking about a day in Washington by Cure Autism Now members and parents of autistics, and a few other organizations that were parent-founded as well. And this is where they all land in Washington, D.C., not Washington State, but D.C., to talk with political powers that be about this legislation they want to get passed. So I'm going to pick up in this update from 1999, I believe it is. What era was this, or exactly? I'm sorry, pardon me. May 21st, 2000. So we bumped a little bit forward here in this update, but it will go through everything that they did that day and give a good idea of exactly what they wanted to have happen, and at the expense of autistic voice. All right, I'm going to start from this point. Our first official appointment of the day was with Representative Jim Greenwood of Pennsylvania. Anthony Edwards, Cure Autism Now member Elizabeth Imkin, and I walked into his office at 9 a.m. happy to see him, but happier still to see the Doug Flutie already there talking to Jim and posing for pictures with the staff and the Flutie Flakes. So right off the bat, we've got celebrities and the movie director speaking to representatives about autism, but there's no autistics here. Alright, it says Jim is an original sponsor of H.R. 997 and is extremely dedicated to getting this legislation passed. Jim helped us strategize on how to persuade Representative Lovaas, and my apologies if I'm saying that wrong, chair of the Commerce Subcommittee on Health and Environment, to grant a hearing on autism. Oh, these hearings, right? Our next stop was the Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott, Republican, Missouri maybe? MS? Sorry, I'm not super familiar with the shortened versions of our state. He agreed to co-sponsor the bill while we were in his office, our first major victory of the day. His endorsement will send a powerful message to other Senate Republicans. All right, next we were joined by representatives from National Alliance for Autism Research, NAAR, and Autism Society of America, ASA, for a meeting with Representative Chris Smith of New Jersey. His district includes Brick Township. Chris is the original sponsor of H.R. 274 and is amazingly informed and very aggressive about pushing passage of this legislation. At 10:30, a press conference and staffer seminar were held. The room was packed with cameras, all eager to get a shot of Flutie and Edwards. Oh, look at that. They wanted to get pictures with the celebrities. Sharing the stage and surrounded by enlarged pictures of children from around the country who are affected by autism was Jim Greenwood, Chris Smith, Senator Santorum, Representative Cubin, Q-U-B-I-N, Representative Bollert, Anthony Edwards, Doug Flutie, and Connie Morella, who represents the district where NIH, National Institutes of Health, is located, and myself. Greenwood then took us to the Tuesday Lunch Club. Oh, fancy. A group of 20 or so moderate Republicans who gather for lunch every Tuesday. We were supposed to catch up with Rep. Porter there, but instead, Greenwood slipped us into the room and let us address the crowd. Oh, wow. And 5 minutes later, he jumped up and demanded a show of hands from those who would co-sponsor the bill. Representatives looked quickly to staffers for approval. Staffers quickly nodded their okay, and at least 8 hands shot up into the air. All right, this was typical for Jim, who remained fired up throughout the course of what was a very long day. At one point, he went over to Elizabeth Ken from Ken and demanded the list of co-sponsors that she always carries with her. "Give me that," he said. "I'm gonna get some more." He plunged into the House chamber and came back in 5 minutes with 3 more names. If you have a moment, whether you are from his district or not, please drop Greenwood a short note thanking him for all the work he's done. You see that? The power of celebrities in legislation. Speaking about 400,000 that they believe exist autistics in the nation without us. All right, after our Tuesday lunch club appearance, we were finally able to meet with Porter for a brief time. While sympathetic, his main interest in keeping the overall NIH budget high. This is, of course, also in our best interest and is an effort we must make sure to support whenever possible. Next stop was Senator Slade Gorton's office. Senator Slade from Washington State, this is a name we will hear more in history going forward for ABA legislation, I believe it is. Anyhow, Slade is the original co-sponsor, Slade is the original sponsor of S512 and the grandfather of an autistic child. When we arrived, we were greeted by Kristen Michael, his health aide and one of our most devoted supporters. His wife, Sally, and good news from Slade. He had just gotten Senators Cochran and Snow to co-sponsor as well. We had the opportunity to spend some time with Sally Gorton, who's very well informed and eager to see us succeed. So they've taken the message and the agenda they want for autism, and they brought in their celebrity influencers, and we've got a movie director, actors, and parents in charge of the direction of our healthcare, all autistic healthcare. Not just the ones they want to help, but all autistics, all of our healthcare. Hollywood. In the hallway, we ran into an aide for Senator Hagel, whose brother just happens to work in the lab of Rudy Tonzi, a world-renowned geneticist and member of AGRE's steering committee. He assured us that he would bring another sponsor on board. Now, AGRE stands for Autism Genetic Research Exchange, and this is the DNA repository that was launched by Cure Autism Now and is still in existence today and under the umbrella, I believe, of Autism Speaks, and it might be related to the Missing Project now, but I gotta confirm that going forward. But let's see where we're at in history first. When we stopped in to see Senator Frist, the chair of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, was great and asked a lot of questions about AGRE's progress, which he remembered well from our last visit together. He wants to have joint hearings on the House, or with the House, on autism, all the autism hearings. Remember, we hear Anthony Edwards and Rene Russo testifying in some of these early ones. So he wants to have joint hearings with the House on autism, either on our legislation alone or as part of an omnibus child health bill. You see the power that these parents had while they were silencing autistics from having anything to do with this or any representation in legislation? No, they'll bring in our pictures and put them up on a wall, especially the children, but they're not going to actually have any meaningful inclusion of autistics. This is such another example of when the autism community is included, we're excluded. It's historical, and they're trying to get legislation based on their belief systems and their agenda for the cure and for all the money that's going to be flowing into this. That everyone, this is wait, so there's more to this. I will read more of this in the next video. Thank you for joining me and learning a little bit more about autistic history.